to make. I like to hustle. I'll admit it. But there are moments in this fast paced world where it feels like I'm either never enough or always behind. Have you ever felt that way? Yes. Maybe you're a student watching AI write essays in seconds and wondering if your voice still matters. Maybe you're a stay at home parent eyeing the job market, afraid you've already been replaced by a bot. And maybe this is the tension that we need to name, especially in this age of artificial intelligence. What happens when we move so fast that we forget to see one another? We live in a world where generative AI tools are rapidly shifting everything from how we work to how we connect and even how we feel. Our resumes are scanned by algorithms, our emotions met with templated empathy. We're told we need to be productive, efficient, optimized. Dare I say, more machine like? But we all know deep down that we weren't meant to live like machines. We were meant to be seen as human beings, not human doings. So today, I want to talk about a different kind of AI, authentic interaction, which I define as our uniquely human ability to be present and bear witness to one another. Because if we don't reclaim this type of AI, we won't just risk losing jobs, we'll risk losing each other. And let's face it, this isn't the first time that humanity has had trust issues with tech, from the printing press to the radio to the internet. When the printing press first came out, people at the time worried that reading would rot your brain. Imagine what they'd say if they saw us now on social media. Endlessly scrolling, guilty. Throughout these disruptions, though, there is one thing that has helped us find our way back to each other time and again, and that is storytelling. Yes, sharing our stories is one of the most accessible acts of authentic interaction. Seems intuitive, but I didn't quite grasp this until a moment in my life forced me. You see, I spent nearly 20 years as an engineer, both in the field and in the boardroom. One of my earliest jobs was as an automation engineer, where I was part of a team responsible for coding machines that operated oil and gas facilities, environments of high temperatures and high pressures, where a single failure could literally mean life or death. It was high stakes work, but I knew how to code with precision, and I knew how to perform. Truthfully, I knew how to zip away the parts of me that felt too vulnerable to share, especially as a woman of color, one of the few women of color in the room. Because, like many of us, I bought into the lie that success means performance and fitting in. Until one meeting at work when everything changed. My water broke and I was 8 months pregnant. In the middle of the meeting, I felt it slightly at first, and I said nothing. I still powered through that meeting, then headed to the hospital. Sorry, this is the first time I'm talking about this publicly. Thank you. Thank you. The next night, my daughter was born prematurely, whisked away into an incubator before I could even hold her. I still remember being wheeled into the NICU, where I saw her inside this glass box, so tiny, wires everywhere, bright lights. And I sat there helpless and asked the nurse what I could do. She could have pointed me to the data, the lab reports, the heart rate monitor. Instead, she looked at me with this quiet knowing. And in a moment of authentic interaction, she said to me, "Just be here and hold her hand. She'll know you're there." And so I did. And in that moment, her tiny fingers curled around mine. In that moment, I wasn't producing, I wasn't performing, I was simply being present. I learned two valuable lessons about the meaning of authentic interaction that night. First, the most important gift you can give someone is the gift of your presence, which simply means to pay attention, to bear witness, to stay with someone long enough to see them not for what they do, but for who they are. Second, the most important gift you can give yourself is the permission to be yourself. Sounds simple, even cliche, right? Be yourself. But I made a promise to myself that night. No more proving that I had to be like a machine to be considered worthy. I kept true to that promise a few years later when I did something I never thought I would. I applied for a grant to write a book. But on the call with the grants officer, I actually said, "But I'm an engineer. I don't have an arts degree. What do I know about writing?" She said something I'll never forget. Another moment of authentic interaction. She said, "Gayathri, you're human, which means you're born to create and you're born to express." In that moment, I felt seen not just as another applicant, but as a person with a dream. And what was different about that moment was that I saw myself too. I said yes to the dream. I became a published author, but more than that, I came home to myself. So I ask you, what parts of yourself have you tucked away from the world? And what would happen if you let them be witnessed? You see, authenticity doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't require a hospital visit or career change. It simply requires one thing: the courage to choose presence over performance. Because if it's simply performance we're looking for, let's admit it, AI tools are already winning. It's not just writing your emails, but it can empathize with you on command, play your friend, your confidant, even your therapist. In fact, a recent study by the Harvard Business Review showed that the top emerging use case for ChatGPT is therapy and companionship. Yes, and it will do this with perfect grammar, emotional mirroring, zero baggage. Honestly, it's the dream dinner date, isn't it? Saying all the right words until we realize it doesn't mean them. And that's the part that we don't talk about enough. We can feel the difference. We know what it's like to not be seen, because right now, that hollow feeling is everywhere. In a world more connected than ever before digitally, as per the World Health Organization, 1 in 6 of us feels lonely. And the cost of that isn't just emotional, it's economic. Workplaces are facing it. Ask the junior developer who loves to code but reads that AI can already code better. Ask the employee who was laid off after 15 years with an AI-generated email that began with, effective immediately. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now. And the message underneath it all, you're replaceable. That's not just a career crisis. That's an identity crisis. Because when people stop believing that they matter, they stop dreaming, they disconnect. And the solution isn't pushing ourselves to perform more to the brink of burnout. The solution is in rebuilding trust. Trust by leaders like you, both formal and informal, who see your people, value them, and remind them that AI is a tool, not a replacement for human worth. So let me ask you again, in a different way. Who do you become when you prioritize presence over performance? And maybe it starts small. Today, I want to share with you a practice that I call a belonging moment. Because it only takes a moment, let's do this together now. Don't worry, the instructions are really simple. Just take a deep breath with me. Quietly ask yourself this question in your mind. When was the last time you truly felt seen? Let that memory rise. Remember how it felt physically. And now imagine paying that feeling forward for someone else. The next time you meet someone new, whether it be at work, at class, at an event, instead of the usual, "What do you do?" ask them, "What's something about you that's not on your resume?" And simply pay attention to their story. And if you can, share yours too. That's it. I realize for some of you, this may feel a little too simple. But you see, in this moment of authentic interaction, you're doing something that no machine can replace. You're inviting someone to be seen for their humanity. Because every single human that you meet, including this engineer turned storyteller, including yourself, we all carry stories. Not just bios, not bullet points, stories. And by bearing witness to each other's stories, we start to look beyond the job title, the demographic, the what, and we start to see the who. We may fumble through conversations. We may soften when someone's voice shakes. And we will remember the story that someone shared with us. Not because it was polished by AI, but because it touched something in us. So that's what a belonging moment is, a reminder that the shortest distance between us is through a story. Neuroscience tells us that our brains can respond to another story as if it were our own. So in this world that keeps asking us to move faster, story is how we return to our humanness. Just like sparks in a campfire, one story sparks another and ignites a sense of kinship. And in this age of AI, this other kind of AI, authentic interaction, still matters. Thank you.